Hello, my name's Maria McMahon and I'm going to be making a series of videos all about healing from narcissistic abuse. I've always been about self-worth and personal development, and then a few years ago I got into narcissistic abuse, and I kind of want to bring the two back together because healing is the most important thing. So in the series of videos this week, I'm going to be talking about self-worth and how that's connected to narcissistic abuse. So I'd like to suggest that you grab a pen and a piece of paper or a notebook so that you can just make some notes as you go along. There's a lot that you just won't think about. So it's a really good idea to just have a pen and paper handy so you can jot some things down that come up for you as we go through this series of videos, okay? Now, if you're dealing with a narcissist, whether it's a parent or a partner or a boss or a friend or whatever, one of the first things that takes a really big hit is your sense of self-worth. And in many cases, it can be absolutely destroyed. So what I want to do is just get you to think about what self-worth really is. And some people refer to it as self-esteem or self-image, even self-confidence, although I don't think it's the same thing. Self-identity, self-respect. Basically, these are all kind of facets of how people view themselves, regardless of which term you choose. But for clarity, I define self-worth as the measure of worth or value you give to yourself from deep inside of you. It's basically a reflection of how you truly feel about yourself. Now, what you have absorbed throughout your life and subsequently what you believe now is what matters. When you're involved with a narcissist, as I've said, your self-worth takes a hell of a hammering. So I want you to really consider, just for a few moments, what self-worth really means to you. And just jot down these questions that I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, and then later on you can really think about these questions and answer them in a way that's kind of deeply meaningful for you, okay? So the first one is, how do you define your self-worth in your life? How do you define your self-worth in your life? So write that down. I want you to have a think about that, because what it matters, it doesn't matter to other people. Everyone's definition is different. What matters is what it means to you. Now, the next question to ask yourself, to write down, is where do you want to make big changes in your self-worth? So you'll answer these questions step by step because they kind of build on each other, but they also help you to go deeper, dig deeper into what's going on for you. So how do you define your self-worth in your life? Then where do you want to make big changes in your self-worth? What's going on with areas where you're really not happy about it? In relation to self-worth, it always comes back to how you feel. Remember that. Now, the third question is, how will your life look and feel when you do make those changes? Okay? And it doesn't matter if it seems really difficult or impossible. What you're trying to do with this exercise is just imagining a different life, a different reality for yourself. So how will you look and feel when you do make those changes? Now, the next question to ask yourself is, and again, it's just going deeper, what will change for you? What will really change for you when you begin to redefine who you are and what you want out of life? I'll repeat that again so you have time to write it down. So what will change for you when you begin to redefine who you are and what you want out of life? Okay? So again, you may not get a chance to answer these questions as we go through the video because I'm making these short, powerful videos, so there won't be a great deal of time, but really think about these later on, and then you can always come back and respond in the comments. Tell me how it went for you and what came up for you. Now, the next question to ask yourself is, this is question number 5. I have got 6 in total. What would a sparkling new future look and feel like for you. And do your very best to put aside all the issues that might be going on for you now. Don't think that won't happen because, or that isn't possible because. Those are limiting beliefs. That's limited thinking, which I will talk much more about this later on down the line. For now, I want you to just imagine that peaceful, perfect, bright future. Really important that you do this, okay? And now the next question that's super important is, how much do you believe that you deserve it? How much do you believe that you deserve it? That you deserve that bright, sparkling, happy new future? Now, your answers to these questions will be very illuminating for you. They'll tell you a lot about yourself. So really think about them later on, and you'll start to get a very good idea of where you stand in relation to your self-worth, what you need to change, and what it will look like for you when you start to make those changes, okay? Now, something else I want you to think about as part of this process of healing and redefining your self-worth is, where does self-worth come from? And specifically, where does your self-worth come from? So as I go through these videos, always be bringing it back to yourself, because this is all about you, okay? So your current level of self-worth is basically a result of a multitude of accumulated thoughts and actions and behaviors that have occurred to you since you were a child. From the age of about 6, you really begin to learn about social behavior, and you start picking up on conscious and unconscious stimuli all the time, and you start making it part of who you are. Now, your parents and your siblings, extended family, your friends, teachers, your social and work environments, and the media, all of these influence where your ideas about you come from. But here's the thing. These are all just thoughts and impressions and ideas. They have actually absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with who you are. I want to say that again for you. All of that goes on out there, it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with who you are. And this applies no matter what's happened to you, when you were growing up, or in the past however many years that you've been involved with a narcissist, or what's happening right now for you in your life. All that matters is what you think and feel about yourself now. Okay, so let that sink in and have a think about that. Now, your level of self-worth shapes everything else in your life, and living an empowered life begins with having a solid sense of your own self-worth and value as a unique and special person. And I don't mean that in a vain way, we're not narcissists here, let's face it, but just appreciating yourself as a unique and valuable person. That's what it comes down to. And that means not accepting abusive behavior. You have to be the one who makes a decision for yourself that you're just not going to accept abusive behavior anymore. That simple decision. That's all it takes. That's really the bottom line. If you're struggling with narcissistic abuse and you want to be happy again, then that's where you need to start, with that single, simple decision. And you say to yourself, enough is enough. And then, of course, you need to take action to start changing your life. Now, that may mean, if you are still with a narcissist, that may mean planning a complete exit escape plan. You may have already left, but still be struggling, really struggling to get your life back on track, struggling with the emotional fallout, and there is a lot of it. But you have to make the decision that I'm done with this and I'm going to do whatever it takes to really start healing. And so keep watching this series with me, because I'm going to be helping you to really look at the levels of self-worth and various other aspects of healing over the next few weeks in this series of videos. However, If you are really struggling with the fallout and you want to know how I can help you to fast track your healing, then apply to book a private Crisis to Clarity session with me and let's have a talk. Let's dig in and see what's going on for you and let me help you get some real clarity about where you are and what you need to do to get yourself to a place of being much more healed and much more quickly, okay? So that being said, join me again tomorrow at the same time for part 2 of the Self-Worth series. And I'll be doing 5 videos this week where I'll be talking about all different aspects of self-worth. So tomorrow I'm actually going to be talking about the 3 fundamentally flawed beliefs that you might be holding about your self-worth. And most of the people that I've worked with, most of my clients have had one at least of these 3 beliefs. So the chances are high that you will have them too. So you definitely don't want to miss that. So thank you for watching. And if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you being here. Do put your comments below the video. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay, bye for now.